silence.
Oh yeah. Put this thing here. Oh, is that a new intro song?
Yep.
Sweet.
Actually, I think it'd be kind of cool to see if somebody would want to remix our intro song. I could put it out there for Patreon members if anybody wants to mess with it. I could post it.
Do we have any like mixers in our
I have
Community?
no
I
idea.
don't know.
in our community?
Well, I'm not a mixer and I made the song, so if anybody wants to mess with it, I'm sure they can figure out how. We have a pretty intuitive group of people that follow the show.
I wouldn't put it past George.
I want to hear the dubstep version.
I wouldn't be so like. What I mean is, I wouldn't be surprised if he like totally knows how to do that.
From Totally
I wouldn't
Woodworking?
pass. I wouldn't. Yeah. I wouldn't put it past him if he, like, just cause. No other reason than just cause. Cause why not? He does everything else.
Wes, did you not change the episode number for the podcast? It's 81, isn't it?
Oh, I forgot. Yep.
19. We are 19 episodes short of 300.
Yeah.
Wow.
And next week will
Wow.
be 17.
Hold on.
Okay.
The Ninjago weapons look pretty cool. The picture
Yeah.
that I saw.
They turned out pretty neat. I am.
Is that pretty much the extent of them in the show? Because I don't watch the show.
What do you mean the extent of them?
I mean, is it simply what material are they supposed to do in the show? Just like metal swords?
So they're made out of ivory and shadow.
Oh, okay. Hence
So
the
the
walnut and maple.
Yeah, so the shadow blade is black with
Right.
ivory accents
Yeah.
and handle, and the ivory sword is ivory with shadow. Yeah.
I was partially asking because I know that some of the other weapons you've made had a special feature, whether they glow or
They're
right?
gold. Yeah,
Or-
most
yeah,
of them.
yeah.
Ever since I made this, I don't know what to do with this thing. My Minecraft TV stand, I have
Yeah.
no idea what to do with it. I don't have anywhere to put it, so it's just kind of sitting in my office. But ever since I made that and made all of the Minecraft tools out of hardwood veneer, I'm like, I'm just gonna use different hardwoods from now on for colors in all of my builds because I don't want to paint wood anymore because it always turns out terrible. It always looks terrible. Mostly because I probably don't know what I'm doing. But
During the
but
club.
yeah, they turned out super cool.
They're almost
I
too
am very
nice.
proud. They're almost too nice. I know.
They are.
I'm like, do I have to give these to my son? I can just hang them up, right?
Yo.
But we had fun making them for one, and making the video. I don't think my son and I have worked together so much on a video before as we did this one, so it was pretty fun.
Nice.
Cool. All right. I think I'm ready when you fine gentlemen are.
Looks good to me.
All right. What's up, friends? You are listening to the Making Geeks podcast for makers, families, and geeks. Happy last week of October.
Wow. Where's this year gone?
Right?
We're just starting 2022, right?
It feels like it's just sped by, but it's also still feels like it's 3 years within this 1 year. Am I the only one that feels that way? Like there's still a
No,
time warp?
no, you're not alone. I think there's, at least personally, I think there's a little bit more to it because every day I'm like having to actively refrain from doing like grumpy old man talk of just, not even like a get off my lawn, but it's back in my day. I can't believe where the time's gone. Just things accelerate, rightfully so. And somebody pointed this out to me, I don't know, a couple of years ago. That the older you get, the less significant each day is because it's a smaller and smaller part of your overall existence.
Right.
That hurts a little bit.
It
I
does.
mean, it does. I mean, my birthday is next week, and I don't even want to acknowledge it. It just, it's weird. It's like,
Happy early birthday.
thank you. Yeah. Things are going by fast.
I mean, I know that a component of the last several years, the reason it feels like it's so much longer and slower is because it's such a novel, not in a good way, but it's a novel experience that like breaks the monotony of everyday life, and so like all those new
Tragedy
things, yeah, all
breaks
that
the
stuff,
monotony.
yeah, exactly, all that for good or bad, like all that stuff
Yeah.
like interrupts, and it makes like imprints that are more significant, in your mind than your day to day, doldrum of life kind of thing. So it's like something that happened. Like I went camping with some buddies in a cabin in the early February, and it feels like it was 3 years ago, almost to me. It was
Yeah.
just here. It was this year. It's crazy, but it also feels like it sped by. So it's like a weird dichotomy going on.
It is. So sometimes I wonder if my perception of time would be different if I didn't work at a school.
Yeah,
My life is run by ringing bells and waiting for the next day off.
right. That's a good point.
So speaking of days off and things going by, what have you guys been up to this week?
I got my first item posted on the Glowforge catalog, so that's exciting.
Oh, yeah.
It is awesome. I saw it. Looks great.
Thanks. It didn't take that part of it didn't take as long as I thought. That only took about a week and a half, but the initial entry into being a quote unquote designer, that I submitted that in June. So there's like some sort of weird balance there that I don't, maybe they just have a lot of people to sift through, perhaps, and then once they figure out who they want to work with, it's a lot faster. I don't know, but it's exciting. It'll be a couple months before I can tell if it did anything because there's not really any metrics that they give you to track even like sales or anything, which is kind of annoying.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah, it's just like a black box of trust us, we're doing the right thing by you, and we'll give you money in your account. And that's basically, it takes 30 days to see any money in your account. It's like a net 30 or whatever, where it's like 30 has to pass before the first payment sort of thing. So yeah, I'll let you know in maybe January or something. I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
But now that I know that the process is faster, I actually have an opportunity to build some stuff, maybe for Christmas or even Thanksgiving, possibly, if I get my tail in gear a little bit. But besides that, I was contacted by a 3D scanning company. Did I tell you guys this?
Yeah, you mentioned it last week.
It arrived, and it's in like a hard case. I'm going to hold it up to the people watching at home. It's pretty huge. It's got like this gigantic Pelican case thing. It's like a Pelican case on steroids. It has built-in like roller wheels.
Is the unit like this big?
It's
just
not as
sitting
big as that.
inside of it.
So it's called it's a
it's that one.
Shining 3D is the company, and it's an Einscan HX, and it has other accessories in here. You have to have an external power source, and it has to plug into a powerful computer like a laptop if you're trying to do something mobile. But it has the capability of scanning like full-size cars or interiors of cars, all the way down to props and whatnot. And so I get the joy of learning how to use that in the next couple weeks. I have it for 3 months, so look forward to seeing.
Is it LiDAR based, or is it
It's
what
got
technology
laser
is it
and
using?
infrared.
Yeah.
So it has like it has two different things that can switch modes between based on, I guess, what you're trying to scan. Some things you are better than others. Like some different, like shiny surfaces react better with different types of scanning technology. So one of them is like a LiDAR. It uses infrared distancing to determine the shape. The other one, it's actually reflecting like multiple laser beams, and it's kind of like drawing like a lattice, and it detects how the laser distorts over a shape, and it just kind of builds a point cloud like that. And so I've been watching some videos of how to do this, and it's got special modes for like faces and people as well in the software. So expect to see some maker scans, and since I have an animation background, who knows what fun may come of these things.
I wonder how well it does facial hair.
Right, probably not very well. I'll probably have to
I mean, is it going to be like
shave and a
bumpy?
haircut kind of
Yeah.
stuff. If anybody out there
So,
remembers
so I'm
that.
so I'm curious, what is their expectation
They
on
want me
their side of
to
things?
just create a video showing me using it, like a kind of like a at minimum just like a review of it, just using it in like a workflow. But I'll probably use it in several different things. They had me kind of propose like what I would be using it for, and then they chose a model that was most applicable. And I think there's a little bit of lost in translation because I said I want to scan like my workshop, and like table saws and laser cutters and things. And they're like, oh, and they sent me this link to this one that the professional within their department like recommended, and it was like a thing that had like a little tiny turntable. It would support something as big as like a loaf of bread or smaller. I'm like, I don't think that'll work. So I sent like pictures with like a ruler, you know, like, oh, these things are pretty big. Like, oh, okay, you need this one. And I looked up, it's like $9,000 or something for this thing, which is nuts. So it's the most expensive single item in our house right now.
So
Besides the car in
you
the
have
garage.
3 months to use it and
Yeah.
then send it back,
Yeah.
or you have 3 months to use it and create content to fulfill your contract, and then you get to keep it.
I don't get to keep it.
You don't get to keep it.
No.
Huh.
The most I think you can like you can elect to extend the thing if you need it for longer or something like that at the end of the agreement. But it's okay. I'm gonna scan like a bunch of my Nintendo stuff to be able to 3D print all kinds of stuff. I want to scan my Element just to have that. Try to do that. Have like a little Matchbox car version of my Element that I drive. All my 3D printers. I want to do all the props and like weird things, projects that I've made. Ultimately, my goal is to have a VR, like we've talked about, a VR experience of my shop, like a walkthrough, and maybe have other makers that I can scan their stuff and have like an interactive experience. Like, oh, you want to jump into, Donovan's workshop? Then you just like click on the sticker that's his sticker on the wall, and you teleport
You
there.
need to do that.
Yeah.
That is so cool. That is so cool of an idea. It needs to happen. It can't not happen.
I mean, I have,
Now that you've put it out
Right.
there in the universe.
I'm trying to encourage myself to do it. This hasn't worked for me in the past as far as like the welding, but I'm gonna get to it. I swear.
But yeah, this isn't something you just bought at Harbor Freight
No.
and hope to get to someday. You
No.
actually have a contract to fulfill for this.
Yes.
So speaking of Honda Elements, did you see the news around the 2023 Honda Element redesign? Did
No.
you see that when it came
No.
out?
No.
It was a couple weeks ago. It was this big thing that
No.
Honda's releasing a Honda Element,
No, no,
and they
no.
had a production model and shots of the exterior and interior, and here's what we changed, and it looked amazing.
No.
Like absolutely amazing.
fake.
And I looked it up, and it's all fake.
Yeah, that's fake. That happens
I
every
was
couple
like,
years.
man, somebody like did a fantastic job, like putting together this whole production of a fake car. But
That's
it got me
annoying.
so excited. I was like, ah!
I'd be
'Cause
there
I wa-
first
I
in
wa-
line.
There's rumors for 2024 still,
They say that every year though. They always
and
say
then it'll
that-
be 2025.
I'm in so many
Although
element. I'm in so many element enthusiast like groups and stuff that this crap just comes through every year. There's new people that join. Like, oh my gosh, did you see the news about the new elevator? And everybody's like, it's a bunch of curmudgeons in there now. They're like, yeah, right, whatever. Oh, or they'll just like play into it and stuff. It's sad.
That said, our mutual friend Alex from Bevelous Creations works at Honda, and he has confirmed that they talk about it, that there is talk within the company about, you know, bringing the element back. But
I wish.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that'd be so cool.
It's been gone for 11 years now, so I don't know. There's a market
And
for it.
it's sad that, like, yeah, it's been out of production so long that it's hard to find like a good model now.
Yep.
Yeah. Now I'm all sad. So my son and I have been working on the Blades of Deliverance all week, and we were kind of hanging out looking at, you know, Ninjago stuff. And he brought up, he was talking to me about videos, and he's like, how about, here's what we do. Let's write a letter to Lego, and we can ask them if they can create a custom set for Lego Ninjago based on the Crystal series and this set, and then they can send it to us for free, and then they can sponsor our channel. And I was like, okay, that first idea probably is not going to happen. But I wonder, like, could we reach out to Lego and see if they'll sponsor, like,
Of course you could do
my
it.
videos?
Doesn't mean they'll respond.
Yeah.
Go for it. I don't see why not.
Yeah, him and I spent a couple hours, like, trying to finding contact information for anybody within, like, a really, really large company like Lego is insanely hard. I don't know if there's like a trick to it or whatever, but we ended up finding the sort of contact information for 3 people within the America's marketing and creative content design for Lego. And he helped me put together an email that we sent out to these 3 people. They haven't responded because I don't even know if the contact stuff is, you know, valid or not. But I was just like, maybe this is something I should pursue. Like, I don't know why I've never thought about it before, mainly because I didn't think Lego sponsored YouTube content, but apparently Lego sponsors a lot of YouTube content.
Yeah, they do.
And so it's my son and I have a mission to find somebody within Lego. So if you're listening right now and you know somebody within Lego, please let me know, because considering how popular my Lego Ninjago builds are, I have a good case to pitch them for sponsoring further content on my channel, and I would like to do that, but I need to know who to talk to. But other than that, my son and I finished the Blades of Deliverance. So if you're on the live, they're in front of my face right now in all of their beautiful hardwood glory. And we worked on the video together. There's like a little Lego dialogue part that him and I did together. We had so much fun putting this project together. It was a blast. It's going to come out tomorrow. I'm so excited for it. It may bomb. It may skyrocket. Either way, it was fun to put together with my son. So that's what him and I have been been working on for the past week.
Very cool. I'm in the middle of like 4 different projects right now. The bed that I'm building for my son that is almost done, but now got put to the side because I have an obligation for a laser video that I'm supposed to have out by the 30th. I'm going to be cutting it really close, from a company called Two Trees, which is kind of weird for the name of a laser company, but the laser's kind of cool, kind of different. I just got it together last night. Hopefully I'll test fire it late tonight and hopefully finish up the videos. I'm going to try to make it a quick video. I also have more sponsored content that has to come out soon. I have a, what do you call it? A supply sponsor, I guess, for like tumblers and stuff to laser. So I got a bunch of those in that I have to do as an example. And I also bought a rotary engraver that looks a lot like a lathe, which is really cool. It has a chuck on it. It has jaws that can hold things of all different shapes. And that's going to be kind of cool to use. And that just came in today, too. I was helping my son with his Halloween costume. He's 3D printing webbing for a Spider-Man shirt. He wants to go as the emo Tobey Maguire Spider-Man.
And
So that when he has the shirt open, he has the, you can see the Spider-Man on the black shirt. So in fact, you just see this on my Instagram. He modeled, and I'm pretty proud of him for it too, because he did a better job than what I started with. He 3D modeled the Spider-Man logo from the Sam Raimi Spider-Man in Tinkercad, and it printed out awesome. So now we're doing all the patches of webs that we'll string together and glue on a black shirt for him. That's probably enough right now. Yeah, so I have all that going on. It's been a busy week.
Man, that is so is it another one of those like open gimbal lasers that's like every other laser right now?
It's a diode laser, so it's an open air diode laser. I think it's a 10 watt. That's really about it. There's not really a whole lot else special about it. It's a pretty heavy build. It has limit switches, which most of them don't, which I think is kind of nice for once. But I don't.
Instead of just regular push switches, or
no,
what do they call them?
A lot of the diodes don't have anything. So if you have things set up wrong, it'll run right into the side of the railing.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
It makes a not very pleasant sound. Yeah, I've had to disconnect my lasers many times because they end up hitting the side and you hear the motor trying to spin.
Interesting.
Yep. So I was going to try to think about something clever to string together for the topic about innovations that, every new laser coming out should have these innovations, but there's also a lot of stupid innovations out there. And that's kind of what we talking about today. And there's a little bit of a story of how I came up with the topic. And so I'll tell that. Last Friday, I was on a school bus for a field trip. I was helping chaperone a field trip. And I've only been on a school bus like maybe 2 or 3 times in the 17 years I've been teaching. But for whatever reason, this time I was paying a little bit closer attention to the driver. And the bus isn't like 100% brand new, but it's not entirely old either. And I don't know if did either one of you ride the school bus at any point when you were younger?
Yes.
Because I remember the school buses in the 80s, there were still manual transmission. So you had a shifter that was like 3 feet long, and the school bus driver, it was like a very physical process of trying to press on the clutch and try to shift that thing, keep it going. And then they eventually had automatic transmissions, and it was pretty easy. But for whatever reason, this bus has a push button transmission for all the gears. And it's a small little console about, 4 by 6 inches. And I'm watching the guy, and we're going up and down hills in the freeway and just trying to keep pace with traffic. And every so often, or every couple of minutes, he has to grab the steering wheel with his left hand, lean over, and kind of wait, and then push the button for the correct gearing, and then sit back like this. And then everybody's stopping up above, so he has to kind of, and then he's downshifting by pressing the button. Like, what a stupid innovation. If you're going to have to change the gearing, just go back to an old stick shift. It was the weirdest thing ever. And I was thinking too, is how sensitive have the tips of his fingers gotten from having to hit the buttons? 'Cause it's not like a raised button, like a keyboard button, like a mechanical keyboard. It's like flat. So you're hitting like almost like a flat, hard surface. It was weird. I should have taken a picture of it. I don't know why I didn't. I felt a little bit weird taking a picture of the driver, but he's hunched over, kind of looking, and pressing the button and kind of goes back, sitting like this. That is my example of a stupid innovation. How about you guys?
Type. There was a thought process in whatever he's typing. I'm wondering what it is. Are you looking it up to see what it looks like? Yeah. Yes. Every time. Yeah.
Sounds about like 60 words a minute.
So when you proposed this of stupid innovations, is that the name
Well, I mean, we have flexibility. We make the rules here, so it could be a stupid invention, stupid innovation.
Yeah.
Let's have a good conversation.
When it comes to technology, power cord charging port placement always seems to be terrible. I don't know why they are designed the way they are, but a lot of times where you plug in whatever thing you're using is usually inconvenient, especially if you want to use it while plugged in. For example, like my camera that I used to have had this adapter that you could plug in like a fake battery and then plug a power source into that fake battery to run the camera off of the thing. The problem is that you couldn't have the cage on the camera and have this adapter unit plugged into the camera at the same time. Even though like there was a design built into the camera where you could do that through the camera, there wasn't a way to have the cage on it and still do it. And so anytime I wanted to use external power, I had to take the entire camera out of the cage in order to plug it into power and like remount everything and stuff, because everything that I have mounts on the cage. So anytime I have to take it out of the cage, I had to remount it on the camera itself, or whatever. And it's terribly inconvenient because I was like, this is like everybody puts a cage on their camera. It's just like everybody puts a case on their phone. It's something that everybody does. And so why not like build that into the design of the camera or the phone or whatever to understand it's like, okay, this thing, like docking stations, for example, will not fit a phone if it has a case on it. The problem is everybody puts a case on their phone, so the phone will no longer fit in the docking station or the battery in the camera or whatever. So when you propose that was the first thing that came to my mind, is like batteries, power sources, plugging things in, because it always seems terribly inconvenient. Like the Switch, my son plays the Switch all the time, and the power cord is on the bottom. The problem is like he plays it like this, or he like props his hands up and he plays it. The problem is like if he's ever plugged in, he inevitably like rests the Switch on the power cord, which bend it. And I'm like, no, don't do that. Like, I can understand why he's doing it, because you can't hold your arms up and you get tired and you need to rest them on something, especially when you're little like that. And Switches aren't, I mean, they're small, but they're not terribly light. And so I'm like, man, if it just plugged in this way instead of this way, we wouldn't have to worry about it. But again, that was the first thing that came to my mind when you brought that up.
Yeah, the location for the Switch power jack is always so perplexing.
Isn't it mainly because of the dock though? Because it docks that way?
Yeah, but there's got to be another way to do it. I mean, I don't know. I mean, you have the different kinds of docks that have like the little spring-loaded
pins?
contacts. Yeah, the pins.
Oh, they could have been on the back. Right?
Yeah, they did that for some of the other consoles, like the wireless, or sorry, like the DSs and some other versions. I think they had like a dock you could like drop it into and charge. But yeah, that's a weird one. That's a good example, Donovan. It's almost as dumb as putting flavoring on the Switch cartridges themselves. Like I understand that innovation, but it makes me sad as a
well,
society.
You have to explain.
Okay, so for those that are not aware, Nintendo adds a foul-tasting compound to the physical Switch cartridges to prevent a kid from sticking it in their mouth and swallowing it. If you don't believe me, lick a Switch cartridge. I didn't believe them. This was like in the first couple weeks when they came out. That system came out. I'm like, what? No way. And it's really bad. It's sort of like bitter apple for dogs, if you're familiar with that type of idea. But it's for humans and small humans. Very strange. I mean, SD cards don't seem to think that that's a necessary thing. And you have the micro SDs for phones that are way smaller, but I assume they just wanted to avoid that issue entirely. I guess it's sort of like making the Play-Doh taste nasty so kids don't eat it kind of idea. But I'm curious how many, litigious people they avoided by adding a foul tasting thing to
I
it.
wonder if that's just an American thing.
That's a good question. I wonder if it tastes different for other countries. Maybe this is a good flavor for Saudi Arabia.
Like
I
you
don't
put
know.
sriracha on something
Yeah.
to dissuade this particular group of people, but another group of people may be like, ooh.
Right, tangy.
Has there ever been a hack to improve the taste of a Nintendo Switch cartridge? Oh, this one tastes like a Big Mac. We're gonna hack the flavor content.
Oh, okay. So I knew as we were talking that ideas would start coming. Video game controllers. I do have to give it to Nintendo that every single system that they have ever created, the controllers have all been uniquely different.
For
Like
better or worse.
vastly, for better or worse, all of the controllers have been insanely different. And non-Nintendo controllers, so like PlayStation, Xbox, or whatever, they almost entirely look exactly the same, especially PlayStation. Like from PlayStation 1 to PlayStation 5, like
That's true.
they almost look. But the thing about non-Nintendo controllers is that they're designed in such a way that to use the trigger buttons, your fingers have to be up in order to still hold the controller and use a thing. The problem is like your pointer finger has to be up at an angle that after a while of like playing like a first person shooter or something where you're using the triggers a lot, it's tiring to those muscles because your finger is not used to being at an awkward angle, but it has to be in those angles in order to use the controller. I was trying to think a couple weeks ago, I'm like, what would an ergonomic controller look like? Like, would it be
like
more
this.
round like a ball? Is that the
Steam-
Steam controller?
The Steam controller. I bought like 4
Now-
of them.
Where's the triggers?
It feels a lot more comfortable.
Really? So you don't have to like angle your finger, like
This is
jack it
normal.
up?
Nope, it's normal. And it has paddles.
Really?
It has paddles on the back too if you want to use the paddles instead.
For like your middle fingers?
For like these,
Really? Interesting.
it's my favorite controller. And you can't buy them anymore. They don't sell them anymore. I would buy 5 more if they sold them.
Are those are those universally compatible with anything? Like, how does it work? Wireless or dongle or?
You have a choice. It could be wireless or with a dongle. I use it for all my PC gaming.
Really?
Yeah.
Interesting.
But most controllers are awkward. Yeah.
Well, pointless and idiotic innovations, discussions about these things cannot occur without mentioning Crystal Pepsi. That's like a law, right?
They tried. I guess they tried.
They did. Bless their
Did you
hearts.
guys drink Crystal Pepsi?
Yeah, I tried
Yeah.
it.
Tried it.
Yeah?
I mean, not habitually, but I think I tried it once.
Did anybody actually like it? I don't know. Like,
I loved it.
you love it. Really?
So okay, it
Why
may
does that
be
not surprise you?
circumstantial. No, it may be circumstantial, and I think the reason why we had it in the house when I was a kid is because they were like trying to get rid of it, and so it was super cheap, and so like we never really had soda in the house growing up, but in our food storage room we had this like huge collection of like Crystal Pepsi, like the big 2-liter things. And I remember like it was under like there was like a little staircase that led down into our little food pantry that was in our house. And my parents had it under the stairs that you walk down. And so every now and then I would go get a Crystal Pepsi, and drink it. I thought it was awesome. I thought it was so cool. And maybe because like I didn't have a basis for comparison. There wasn't a lot that I drank at the time that was, soda related, but we did have Crystal Pepsi, and I thought it was the coolest thing. And I was like, why wouldn't they sell this anymore? This stuff is so cool.
Crystal Pepsi tasted like a base. Like you're supposed to add in all the other stuff to make it good. Something that I think is a stupid innovation is Apple's keyboards. I cannot stand their flat keyboards.
Like these things?
Yeah, they have so very little travel. they're completely flat, so my fingers slide off of them all the time. They actually don't, and they hurt. They hurt my fingertips. I'm probably having the wrong angle. You should probably be using the pads to type more instead of like the like down. But they bug my fingertips. They don't have very good travel, and just I think they're horrible keyboards. They're butterfly switch, and I worked. My classroom had a class set of Apple keyboards for years, and every now and then a student would peel off the key, and they're extremely difficult, if not impossible, to fix and replace. So when I got a brand new lab of iMacs last year. I kept all the keyboards and bought all $20 piece Logitech cheap keyboards, and I've not had a problem once. Not one person has taken off one of those keys, even though those are the kind of keys you can. Perfectly fine, and that much better to type with. So a lot of those.
You need to turn around and
keyboards,
sell the Apple keyboards.
I might, because I really don't like them. And the new ones, when you buy a new iMac, it's only the keyboard. They don't have the number pad, and the whole form factor is a lot smaller. And it bugs me. I can't stand it. I'd rather use my Red Dragon mechanical keyboard that I have. And it's funny. The best keyboard I've ever owned was an old Fujitsu keyboard. That was a soft touch keyboard. It was full mechanical, but it was silent. And I had that thing for like 15 years. Best keyboard I've ever owned. Yeah.
It would be cool to have a soft touch keyboard. Because nowadays it's super popular to have keyboards that sound like old keyboards, like the clackety.
Like mine. Mine does a little bit.
Yeah. So it's the thing nowadays. It's all the rage to have a new keyboard that sounds like an old keyboard.
Yeah, it's all the gaming thing that makes it sound like you're gaming harder because the sound is louder, I guess. Actually, I'm going to do another one really quick too, because it's also somewhat related. I really hate capacitive touch. Is that right? Capacitive touch buttons on appliances. So it's not a button per se. It just registers the touch of your finger. I bought my wife a new air fryer last Christmas, and it has those capacitive touch buttons, and I hate it because I'm hitting the button, and I think that it's supposed to press in. I'm so used to what a button actually does, and you have to just barely touch it with the pad of your finger, and it works. But I don't know if it's the calluses of my fingers or like the baseball mitt of hands that I have. It doesn't always register, and it bugs the hell out of me. I miss old style buttons. See, there's the old guy in the lawn type thing I was talking about earlier.
These kids today and their newfangled buttons.
Yep.
On that same note, smart appliances, I think are kind of dumb.
Yeah.
We got a new washer and dryer because ours were, man, they were struggling to like maintain life. So it was time to get a new washer and dryer, and we got a new washer and dryer, and they're these, the smart washer, because everything's smart nowadays. These smart washer and dryers that are Wi-Fi compatible, and they like send notifications to your phone to let you know when your laundry is done. And but they also play like this super loud, chimey, like Samsung music, like every time a load is done. And I'm like, who is this function for? Like, how big of a house do you have to live in to get that you would like need a notification on your phone to let you know when your laundry is done?
Me?
Because you can't hear it. You
in the basement, I cannot hear a laundry running at all or any chimes.
But like your washer and dryer, like literally in the middle of the house.
You would think I would hear it anywhere, but yeah,
right.
Unless the door to the basement's open, I won't hear it. But see, now I don't have an excuse as to forget about the laundry. It just keeps reminding, like, hey, idiot, your laundry's been wet for 15 minutes. And then after 15 minutes later, hey, idiot, your laundry is wet for 30 minutes. It kind of does work in our use case. And I like, in our particular model, you can load up a ton of the liquid soap, and it auto dispenses, and then it tells you when it's low. That has been pretty handy when it's worked. A couple of times it's clogged. So we would go like a week or more, and it wasn't actually dispensing the soap into the washer. And like these clothes don't smell as fresh as they usually do. This is weird. And like, and it would like it's happened several times where you have to go in there with like a pipe cleaner essentially and clear out the like nozzle and stuff. It's a little annoying, but yeah, I have a smart functionality for one of my smokers, and whoever designed it is really dumb because it operates basically as a separate router, so you can't be on your home network and have the connectivity to this device. Like you open their app, and it's like, oh, you're not connected to the thing. When you connect to it, it drops your local Wi-Fi, connection and connects to directly just to the to the smoker. So you have no house Wi-Fi. Then it's basically another router essentially in it, and that has no purpose. It doesn't do anything for me. Like, why would I want to do that? So I don't use it. And then I have the smart functionality for our new range and oven. And I'm sure it's because of safety reasons, but you can't actually start the oven remotely. You can do everything. You can say what mode you want it to be in. You can say what temperature you want it to be in and all these things. But to actually start it, you have to be in the physical location to press start, which I understand from a safety perspective, but it takes all of the advantage away. Like, why would you want to dial in all the settings from your attic or your backyard or whatever, and then have to still
just
be
to
home?
have to go and
It's weird. So
does your oven have a built-in camera?
it does not.
What?
But a fridge that we almost bought did. It would you could see it had a window or a screen where you could hit a button and it would show you inside of your fridge without opening the door.
Who's this for?
Huh?
Isn't it so weird you could theoretically hack all of your household appliances now?
Yeah. And they're oftentimes
How'd you get access
big
to the house? Well, I hacked the fridge.
They're oftentimes a big vulnerability too, for because they're the least secured type of device on your network. So.
Yeah, and they're on your internal network. Yeah. I've fought against the smart home thing for a long time. The most I've done is, I think I have one light that's Wi-Fi that I sometimes have connected, and then my thermostat. All the other stuff just makes me feel really uneasy. Like a smart lock on your front door.
Yeah.
I don't know. I've worked in computer security. I've seen how hacking works. I don't know. Makes me uneasy.
Some other inventions or innovations, I should say, they're not of a specific product. It's just when this occurs, I always get a raised eyebrow, and I'm very cautious. For instance, different products that say new and improved flavor for different things. It's almost always worse. There's we used to of all the frozen pizzas, we typically like California Pizza Kitchen pizzas typically. But they did the same thing for a Sicilian style pizza that they had. It's their toppings. They changed it, and they changed the sauce and something else, and it would just tasted weird. They didn't update the packaging. I'm like, this tastes off. It tastes weird. A couple weeks went by, and then here's the new packaging. They explained, new and improved flavor. I'm like, okay, yeah, They did the same thing with toaster strudels when they actually used to have apple parts inside of toaster strudel from Pillsbury, and they don't have that anymore. New and improved. I'm like,
Well, see, here's the thing they don't tell you is it is actually new and improved. It's new.
It's improved for them because it's cheaper.
Yeah, right. It's not improved for its taste. It improved their bottom line.
Yes.
So it's not false advertising. Just your perception of what it means is wrong.
Yeah, Raisin Bran Crunch did the same thing. There was a point where it just tasted weird, and I'm looking.
Did they take away the crunch?
Yeah, it's less crunch.
I used to love that cereal.
It has had a different taste to it, and I detected it, tried it, and of course, after a while, if you still really like the stuff, you'll kind of adapt to it and not remember how good it used to be because you have no frame of reference. It's been years, and so that's sort of happened with a lot of these products, but they still irritate me. And there was some sort of on this topic, there was some sort of you would think that competitors in a product space would not communicate often, but I think there was some shenanigans probably 10 years ago where all the major ice cream carton, like major ice cream companies, they all shrunk their carton like ounce like quantities like universally, but then still continue to charge the same amount. Like they all had like a package redesign, and I was like,
there's a name for
there
that
is,
too, and I don't remember
yeah,
it. Yeah.
like Breyers, which is named different things across the country, Edie's, and some other things like other competitors that you think they never would talk, but they had to have had some sort of under the table shenanigans to like synchronize this universal shift to make their crap cost more, and it just irritates me. Again, an innovation that is sort of not always publicized, is not always good for the consumer.
So I had a friend by the name of Dane who, if you started talking about ice cream, he would kind of go off because he would explain how like ice cream.
Yep. I could tell
back in the day.
I want to be friends with this guy. Keep going. Yep.
Really? Mm-hmm. So ice cream back in the day was dense. Like it was a dense product. But these companies started realizing that if you inject air into ice cream during the whatever the process is where it like solidifies to make it fluffy, like fluffy ice cream or like something like that, you can provide less material and like basically offer the same, like offer less for the same price of a thing, shrinkflation or whatever the technical term is. And so all these ice cream companies started pumping air into their ice cream to make it fluffier so that you're not getting as much ice cream as you would that if you just had like the formulation of it. And he's like, and then these ice cream companies, they turn around and they take the air, like they don't add the air into some of their ice cream, and then they sell it as like deluxe ice cream or like, the high-end fancy stuff. And he's like, it was the same stuff. It was the same stuff as it used to be before they like injected air into it to try and rip you off,
Yeah, I have a bone to pick with this too, because there's actually, the FDA regulates what legally can be called ice cream, and because there's certain percentages of milk fat to other ingredients that need to be like the primary ingredient for it to be legally be called ice cream. So for some of these, you have to look at the packaging because they say frozen dairy dessert instead of ice cream because they legally can't call it that anymore. And they got in hot water for doing that some time back. So anytime like the best tasting quote unquote ice creams, like with like Oreos, this and that, I like look at them like frozen dairy dessert. I'm not buying that. That's a waste of calories. I want the real stuff, man. Come on. It just irks me.
Is it kind of like the Walmart ice cream bars that don't melt, that never melt?
Yeah,
that kind of thing.
Yeah,
it's not real ice cream.
And it's similar to M&Ms, where they had to change their labeling for the basic M&M, where it used to be like they call it plain, but I think originally they were like I forget the specifics of this, but in order to call something milk chocolate, it had to have a certain percentage of cocoa as the primary ingredient and not sugars, basically.
I think Food Theory did an episode on that.
Yeah, it's very interesting. Like, again, in the same kind of line of the ice cream, regulation where they can't actually call it certain things because they're being deceptive and switching out ingredients to save money. So that's
interesting. So I have one that irks me. It's I don't know if it would fall under stupid inventions, more so as like a stupid current trend, is that you will buy, this is just in general, you will buy a product and then to unlock the features built into the product, you have to pay a monthly subscription. Drives me nuts. There was
like a Tesla.
So there was an article, was it a Tesla or what was it?
You're talking about during the hurricane a couple years ago?
No, there was a car where you had to
there was a car
for heated seats.
Oh yeah, we talked about this. Yeah, we talked about this.
So you buy a $150,000 car,
right,
and then you have to spend $1,000 a month to unlock the capability of that's built into the car that's behind a paywall.
Right.
So I have talking about old man curmudgeonness, subscription models drive me nuts. Because everybody wants a subscription model. Like you don't buy anything anymore, you lease it. You don't purchase anything anymore, you like rent it.
License it.
We did a video a long time ago specifically about that called I think it's called like the death of ownership.
Oh yeah? Was that before my time?
I think it was.
Yeah. But it's like my son and I had this conversation when it comes to like Switch games, because he'll want a Switch game and like we talk about it, and we'll go on the Nintendo store, like we'll see if there's like a physical copy, we'll go on or see if it's like a digital only, that kind of thing. And he's like, well, why don't we just buy it off the Nintendo store instead of go get the cartridge? And I was like, okay, so here's the thing. Cartridge is always better. And the reason is because you actually own the game. Like you're not renting the privilege to play the game off of like somebody else's server. Like you own the game. It's yours. Like you can do with it what you want to. If you want to keep it, if you want to sell it to a friend, if you want to lend it out, you can. Like there's a tangibility in that. You know, he's only 8. There's not a lot that he understands about this, but I'm trying to teach him. I'm like, when you have a digital product, you don't own it. Like if you buy it on your Switch, I can't play it on my Switch because I don't have the right to play that game. Even though I bought it, it's only on one Switch. And so trying to teach him like the tangibility of things when we're moving into this very digital world where that tangibility is, I don't want to say taken away, but like it is a lot less.
I think that the biggest offender in that topic is John Deere tractors.
Oh,
you know that story, right?
Yeah.
You know, farmers were trying to hack their tractors because they were getting locked down because they weren't paying the subscription model or whatever it was for that new tractor. I mean, that's huge. I mean, that's our farming industry that's getting choked like that. That's horrible. That's not just a stupid innovation, but that's a horrible one. That's borderline on criminal.
Yeah.
At least it should be.
No, I concur. I agree. Because a lot of that model is where a lot of companies and a lot of products are going. You buy a toaster, you have to have a monthly subscription to toast your bread. And if you don't pay that monthly subscription, I'm sorry, but you can't toast your bread. So what, like,
Yeah, if planned obsolescence wasn't bad enough, now it's this.
Yeah, paywall features.
Speaking of paywall, if you want to have access to our exclusive behind-the-scenes content, including our Discord server, you can join our Patreon at patreon.com/makinggeeks and become one of our top patrons, like Jordan, Nolan, Square Splinter, and Clinton. You guys are awesome. Thank you to each and every one of you for your support.
Speaking of our patrons, you had a request of our community out here, Sean.
Yeah, I thought it would be fun if anybody's interested in doing a remix of our intro song. I'll find a place to post it online, and for our Patreon members who might want to tinker with it, maybe put it into a different music style, might be a fun little bonus to do something with. And you can send us the result of it, and maybe we'll start playing those variations on the show.
I like it.
I'm just waiting for the banjo, the banjo one.
I'd be down for that. Maybe drop some lyrics on top of it.
Yeah.
Have a real theme song.
Considering how creative our little group of people is, I would not be surprised of what could come out of something like this. That would be awesome.
I always thought it'd be fun to have a theme song like the old Totally Rad intro for the three of us.
That would be cool.
That'd be kind of fun.
Yeah.
There's only 19 more episodes until 300 to make that happen, though. It'd be kind of cool if we could have that done before then.
Yeah, like a channel refresh when we hit 300 and new theme song. That'd be cool. 19 weeks. Wow.
So, what are you guys geeking out about?
Ooh, can I go first?
Go for it.
I'm geeking out about the news that Henry Cavill is coming back as Superman. That is fantastic news for me.
I really liked him as Superman.
I'm a huge Superman fan. I enjoyed his portrayal as well. The Man of Steel soundtrack is awesome. The movie has a couple things that are like weird in it, but overall, I thought they did a fantastic job. How they kind of explored like his struggle as a kid, like adapting to having all these abilities and taking a more like human, realistic approach to it. So I'm looking forward to seeing what they do with that.
Very cool. I am too.
Did you watch Black Adam?
I have not, but I heard that there's something at the end. But
yeah,
I would like to
Have
have
you
had
seen
that
it?
surprised, but you know how it goes.
hopefully I'll get to see it at some point. But I'm geeking out about two things. Do you guys know Evil Ted, the prop maker online? He has some work featured in the new Fallout show on Amazon. So I think that's cool. Somebody from the community that isn't too far removed is having some of his work recognized in a show. I'm also geeking out about a Netflix documentary that's coming out. I don't think it's out yet. I think it's coming out soon, called Pepsi, Where's My Jet?
I saw that. I saw the trailer.
Oh
And-
yeah.
Yeah.
It's one of those 80s stories of when we were kids, and it seems right up my alley. And I love those types of documentaries, and I'm all for it. And it kind of goes back to, like, I think we're talking about, I mentioned contests before the show started today. And
That's a great
Pepsi ran a contest in the 80s that if you collected enough points from drinking their products, that you could get a Harrier jet. And somebody saved enough points to do it. And Pepsi did not want to follow through on their end. And the documentary is about that whole thing. It looks like a lot of fun. So that's what I'm geeking out about.
And I think that was like the kicker to have a lot of the commercials have like that little fine print that you see nowadays.
The disclaimer.
Yeah.
Yep.
Like, this is a dramatization or whatever. Like, there was a point where like I noticed that all the time, and I'm pretty sure.
Yep. We meant it as a joke.
Yeah.
Yeah, but you better say it
Yeah,
because, all the kids in the 80s that really closely watched commercials got excited about a lot of that stuff. It's funny how many of those contests really sold products in the 80s and got us excited about doing
That's
things.
true.
It was like our call to action.
That's right. Speaking of trailers, also, it reminded me of another documentary that I saw a trailer for on Amazon Prime called Goodnight Oppie for the Opportunity rover. So it's a documentary about the Spirit and Opportunity rovers and from the conception to the end of like over a 15-year like life cycle, which was only intended to be 90 days originally for this rover. Mm-hmm. And it's like the struggles and the triumphs and stuff like that. It's an emotional trailer. It's really well done. If you love space stuff and or any NASA related things, I highly recommend checking the trailer out. It's really well done.
I'm going to be greedy and mention a third one. Ant-Man 3 Quantumania. I am geeking out about that.
Yes.
I'm sure we'll have a lot of conversations about that, but I just wanted to make sure we didn't forget it for this week. All right, Donovan.
So in people that have watched my videos in the past, especially my Borderlands lightsaber video, have seen my struggles with planing things or sanding things on a workbench that moves on me. There's like, especially in the Borderlands saber video, there's a scene that's all sped up of me planing this piece of wood down to a circular shape, and like the whole time like my little workbench is like moving off camera. And Cowdog Craftworks, who is how would you describe him? He's a traditional woodworker in that he loves Japanese style woodworking and framing and all this other kind of stuff. Like he's a really good source for like how to sharpen chisels or stuff like that. Very traditional minded woodworker. And he reached out and was like, watching your video is painful. Like your workbench is awful. And I was like, I know, because I don't have a workbench. I just have random tables that I like, put something on and work on it. And so he started talking to me because he wants to fly out here and help me build like a legit workbench. So his first assignment for me was to get this book called Workbenches from Design and Theory to Construction and Use. And it has been fantastic reading through the whole process of a lot of it is traditional woodworking, but the whole process of putting together a workbench and all the features and capabilities and stuff, and trying to figure out like what kinds of things I want for mine, and do we have a design that we're going for. And I'm not sure when it's going to happen, may not be soon, but he's gonna fly up here, and we're gonna put together a traditional style workbench for me to use in my videos and not have it like scoot off screen as I'm as I'm trying to plane something or work. So I've been geeking out about learning traditional woodworking from a book.
Very cool.
Speaking of books, I don't know, whatever. Speaking of reading things, if you don't like reading things and you like seeing pictures, especially of the things that we're working on at any given moment, you can follow us on social media. All of us are on social media, and we like posting, what we're working about. Or what we're working about. I can't talk. What we're working on and all that kind of stuff. So if you want to see all the things that Wes is working on, especially with his 3D scanning, I'm sure he's going to be posting a lot of stuff about that. You can follow him at Geeksmithing. If you want to see all the laser stuff and all the other sponsored content that Sean has to get done in a relatively short period of time, you can follow him at Geek Builders. And if you want to see the Ninjago stuff that I got going on at any given moment, you can follow me at Once Upon a Workbench.
And you can also check our website at makinggeeks.com. You could listen to all of the past episodes right there on the homepage. And we also have a shop where you can take a look at all the Making Geeks themed merchandise for your perusal and possible purchase. And we also have a contact page there that's a little bit separate from our individual contact, and that is for general show information. If you'd like to suggest some topics or have anything else that you want to say about the show, you can do that there. And you could also leave us a comment and review on any of the podcast players that you're listening to for the show. Do you want to jump into something really quick, Donovan?
You know what? We talked about stupid inventions, and I can't believe we didn't bring up unnecessary inventions.
We'll have to do a follow-up at some point and specifically mention some of his. I think some of his inventions are more necessary than some of the things we see on a regular basis. Especially like the crotch cooler. I don't think that's dumb at all. I think that's very necessary.
Yeah, I had no idea that feature was like built into older cars. Like I was like, wait, what? That is super interesting and cool. And I had no idea. Yeah.
Yep. And if you'd like to be part of this cool process that we do every Thursday evening, we record live on YouTube. And we have a really good selection of people and group of people that always join in and have a talk. We have like a little side conversation during the show. It always makes it a lot of fun. If you'd like to be part of that fantastic group, you could do so by joining in. See, what is it? Eastern, 9:30, Central, 8:30, and it is 6:30 Pacific. If you want to be a part of that Thursday evenings when we record live. Otherwise, you can find new episodes of the podcast every Saturday morning on your favorite podcast player of choice. That's it from me. Hope you guys have a great week.
Later.
Happy Halloween, everybody.
Ooh, yes.
Happy Halloween.
Yeah.
We'll have to do the follow-up for Halloween next week.
Mm-hmm.